I used to think I was doing a good deed by holding the door open for others. I didn't know that they were robbing the place. But that is something that I truly regret from my own life, and even as they were pushing the candles into the white van, they were so nice to me. Nonetheless, that is the theme of today's video: regret. As in, do I regret moving to the United States of America? And that's a question that I get asked often, and thought today would be a good time to address it. And the simple answer to that question is this. Find out after the commercial break. I'm joking. The real answer to that question is convoluted, complex. On the one hand, I don't really regret much in life. I mean, even that incident with the robbers was entirely made up for dramatic effect. And I like to think I have a happy-go-lucky, can-do attitude that has put me in good stead. But that wasn't always the case. In fact, as if to make the case against American regret, I think I developed that sense of can-do attitude while living in the United States. When I came here, I didn't really have a sense of I can achieve anything I want. It was more a case of I'll just wing it until I get a job. And that only took 9 months, so that was nice. But I think America, even if this was, by osmosis, did instill in me a sense of, you can do this, boy. You can reach for the bloody stars, just don't touch them, because most of them are very hot. I suppose that could sound to the untrained ear like I needed to be here instead of the United Kingdom. Do you, Lawrence, regret not moving here sooner? And the answer to that question would be no. I think I moved here at just the right time. I'm very glad that I grew up in Britain, that I was given a kind of British sense of humour, that I was taught in British schools, and that I don't know, my way of life was kind of influenced by British society and culture. But moving here has allowed me to live kind of a second life, a discovery of Lawrence that wouldn't otherwise have happened. I'm not saying my life would have been bad if I'd have stayed in England. It wouldn't have been. I think deep down, there is a little bit of an optimist in me. But that optimism, as I said, was kindled even further. Is kindled a word? We'll go with it. I was able to kindle that optimism in the US. So I think I moved at the right time. It was a tough time because, recession was happening. We've had a lot of political strife in the intervening years. And then, of course, a pandemic and all of that. This is going to sound a bit pretentious, but I think America has allowed me to sort of express myself in a way that I would probably not have felt as comfortable doing in Britain. It's not that British people are necessarily less receptive to this, although I think there's a suggestion that that could be the case. But to sort of expressing yourself in a, hey, look at me, I have 300,000 subscribers kind of way, just sort of seems to sit more with that kind of American mentality of reach for the stars. I don't think I would have been as comfortable being that person back in Britain. And maybe that would have been a good thing for everybody else. But I enjoy seeing my numbers rack up, and seeing all of you people comment on my videos. I'm sure it would have happened in Britain too, but my mentality would have just been different. It would have been so much different to this. As I've said before, I've always had a kind of a thing for America, whatever that thing is. It's not romantic, although I did marry an American, so it partially is. And I came here with that same sense of liking for this country, so that really helped. And I think, as I mentioned in my previous video, a lot of British people might come here and bemoan the lack of their sort of British food or things that they could get back home. It's just never been in me to do that, really. I think I've always just wanted to experience what the place has to offer. And it's been good. I mean, obviously there have been times, just as there are in everybody's lives, that have been a bit more tricky, a bit more difficult. I don't tend to dwell on those things, and I do think to myself that those things, or equivalents of those things, might have occurred in other countries, with the exception of really big medical bills. That's one thing that sticks out to me, is that whenever we've had to go to hospital, it is that sort of guessing game over how much we're going to owe. It's not enough to make me regret moving here, but it is enough for me to miss the national healthcare system in the UK. Here's a sort of minor thing that I don't speak about very often. I don't think Americans quite grasp my sarcasm on the level that British people do. It's an innate language that we have in Britain that can't really be replicated anywhere else. I'm not saying that Americans can't do sarcasm or that other countries can't either, because you very much can. It's just that we each have a different brand of sarcasm. While the 300,000 subscribers undoubtedly get my sense of humour, there will be some people that just don't know that I'm joking. And this isn't a huge source of regret, but there are those times when I'm sitting over a coffee with an American and something just comes out that might to them sound harsh or just poorly thought through or stupid, when in fact it was just a very cutting and wry observation about the world in which we live. Thank you very much. And I could go on and list all of the gripes that I've had with living in America, but I'd arrive at the same answer to the central question, do you regret moving to the United States? And the answer will always be, no, I do not. You know, it's not lost on me that I am known to more people here than I am in Britain. And while that is sort of hard for me to process, I am filled with kind of gratitude that so many of you have taken me in. And Mum, that doesn't mean that I'm living with them. It's just a phrase. America is a nation of extremes, you know, extreme weather, extreme religious, extreme non-religious, extremely political, extremely large, extremely bizarre. But it's also the venue of my second life. And if you're just joining us, I don't have two wives. It's nothing like that. That's it for this episode. Say hello in the comments below. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. A huge shout out to my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so today at patreon.com/LostInThePond. Until the next video, goodbye.